Which language will you prefer?
English, of course.
English, of course. Everyone is fine with that?
Yep.
Fine. Because I am a very strong believer that the best learning part happens when we talk in our mother tongue. So if everyone is comfortable with English, I don't mind at all. So we are going to talk about this BMC called Business Model Canvas. Now, this Business Model Canvas is basically a product of design thinking. When we think a lot, when we iterate a lot, we come out with something that is novel. Novel in terms of maybe it is a process, or maybe it is a product, or maybe at times it can be sort of service, rendering services, right? We'll get to examples a little bit later on that, different sort of things which get novelty into it. But now, as what just a few minutes back we were discussing some cut vegetables to be stored in some vacuumized bags and all. Now, why this thing is not popular? What is the reason possible? Will you please tell me who was that? Yeah. Can you please tell why it was not popular? What stopped it?
Because लोग एफर्ट नहीं करते, मतलब उनको फ्रेश चाहिए सब चीजें.
Pardon? I'm not getting you. थोड़ा जोर से.
उनको मतलब लोगों को अभी फ्रेश वेजिटेबल्स चाहिए, मतलब वो लोग उनको पता नहीं है कि इसमें भी फ्रेश होते हैं, तो उसके इसके बेनिफिट्स क्या है, दे डोंट नो एक्चुअली. तो हमें भी उनके पास जाना पड़ेगा, बेनिफिट समझाने पड़ेंगे, तब वो लोग मानेंगे.
So, to what extent do you expect to reach to people around? How many of them?
सर वो वही तो ये स्टार्ट करना है सर एक.
So you need something we can call sort of developing a channel. You must have seen a lot of leaflets floating in along with the newspapers. Some kindergarten is to begin, or some school is to start admission, tuition classes, or some fashion boutique shop. A lot of sort of leaflets are there. That sort of thing you didn't try.
We actually don't get into the exhibition. Still developing the.
Okay, so something good was there, but somehow it is suffering somewhere. Some points are lagging behind. Actually, now this is the one of the part where I am going to talk about. Let us develop a business model before actually starting or delivering things around, right? So the basic idea is to develop this business model is to make sure that whatever I am going to begin with, or whatever money I am going to pour into it, every paisa of it should get me worth of it, right? So even if I am putting some efforts into that, I am pushing in my time into it. Now time is a resource, as we all know. We all have limited time. All believe that thing, right? So today, once it is gone, it is gone. It is never going to come back, right? So if I am giving my time, that means I am giving it my life. Now whether I am giving my life to it, whether it is worth it or not. And if I am putting some of my time into that, I must fetch results. So we need to be a little bit more focused and become result oriented. That is a little bit of psychological changes that we all need to bring in. Otherwise, just drop it. बहुत अच्छा है. But if I am not willing to push it till the end and limits, drop it. Right? Get it registered, get it copyright, and sell to someone who is able to do it. You will fetch some money. If it is a product, get it patented, sell it to someone who can produce. Don't go for an establishment of a big sort of production line and factory and all, because I am not a marketing guy. Fine, no problem. Right? So whatever is that. Now this is also kind of business moving around. Somebody is inventor and someone is marketer and someone is producer. That sort of things keep on coming around. So it is basically intended, this lecture that I am going to talk about is basically focusing on the startups and that too strategically. We'll explore a tool that will tell you step-by-step procedure that what sort of efforts I need to put in before I begin to think of a business, line of business, right? So, you might have heard a lot of this sort of business, no? In 2004, few guys started to develop some sort of strategy on the business part. So, what they did, let us begin a storybook. Let us write a book. Somebody got a very good idea. Oh, this is a very fantastic manner to develop a business. Let us make a book. So the book will be able to move around a lot of people, and people will be able to learn it. So that sort of thing came into mind. But then at the somewhere they thought that once this book is written, might be it can go to a stage of a bestseller book. But whether it is going to serve the purpose for which it is intending actually, many people keep on reading around. Some people have a hobby of reading. They'll keep on reading everything, whatever they come in front. Any new book is there, they'll purchase it or they'll rent it and they'll go through it. But then actually, whether it is intending to the specific user or not, that is required. That needs to be made sure. Right? So, intention is there. Then there is another thought to be, there are a lot of books already in the market. If we talk about business development, there is all management lines are there. So there is already a lot of it behind it. So what actually I am anticipating by writing this book? So what happened? Let us make it a book with a lot of visuals, sketches and doodles and photographs and a lot of things. So the basically eye-catching stuff. So people when going through, they are engaged while they are reading it. So that will fetch some more readers. A person like me will never like a book, just black and white text all around. The theories nobody likes. Right? So let us make it somewhat fancy by creating and adding colors and sketches and all. So they thought to go with the visuals idea. But then they thought, okay, we are getting visual, but there is a limitation of creativity for a specific person or maybe a few persons, a group of persons. There is a limit to creativity. So they pitched an idea on the globe where we want people who can help us. So about 400 persons across the globe got in communication and they developed this book. The books are there in the reference on the last slide. This presentation I am going to share with you all, and this video also will be floated around on my website, that is pvbhatt.com. It's a learning portal, and I have been pushing in with kind of blogs or sort of stories and things around which can help young generations like you. So apart from that, there is another, Xerox. Xerox to suna hai sir? It's a company actually, right? But people have the Xerox store, Xerox shop. The brand has got photocopying, as the Xerox has gone into it. So initially what they begin, the photocopying machine when they invented, it was costing a little bit higher. So they thought not to sell it off. What they do, just putting it somewhere, someone who is interested in doing the business of photocopying, they will pay the money only based on the photocopies the person has made. The person who is doing this business is not required to purchase the entire machine, maintain it, and put in huge of capital investment into that. So that sort of thing they thought of, and then the business started rolling. They rented these machines. Even these days, if you go to stationery shop to the colleges, you will find a lot of machines placed in there are not purchased by the shop owners. They are all on rents. Right? And at the end of month or the decided frequency, they will work out what are the number lots of photocopied, and they will pay accordingly. Right? So any moment of time, if the machine is broken down, they'll switch over the parts or replace it on the by the responsibility of the supplier by oneself. Right? So that is another kind of service providing model. What things in here at center is the basic ecosystem where we are addressing. We need to identify the all components of the involved persons or group of persons. That is, we can say, is an ecosystem who are going to involve. At any moment of time, one specific group of persons or one specific person is not responding as expected in time, the line of action is stuck. It is going to get broken, and definitely it is going to affect the service level or your customers, the end users rather, I would say. It is of course a continuous process. It can never have a uniform single formula when we talk about business. It cannot be uniform for any of it. Every business needs some specific unique involved into it. Right? So let us begin with this BMC. Basically it answers to one thought that I want to develop a clear plan on how to grow my idea into something bigger. It is basically a one-page answer, the tool that I am going to show it to you today. What do you do actually, or what do you want to do, and how you are going to do it in terms of business. Now, the structured conversation around management and strategy by laying out the crucial activities and challenges involved with your initiative and how they relate to each other. It enables you. This tool that I am talking about will enable. Now this is the tool. This is a business model canvas developed by Strategizer. It is an open source tool available to download. Just to punch in Google Strategizer business model canvas and you will be able to download a high quality image of it. Now there are different questions here. There are points which we are going to discuss, and there is a path of working it out. There are different boxes now. This is a canvas. Now a canvas, we can define it that it involves certain specific process of line of thoughts and working. Otherwise it's just a sheet. But it is a canvas. Now canvas has some flow involved. Right? One after the other, another after one. Right? So if we are breaking that flow, it is fine, no problem. But it will not be that effective, which it could be if we would have followed the specific flow. So it involves, if you see, value proposition, key activities, key resources, key partners. On the other side, there are customer relationships, channels, customer segments, cost structure, and revenue streams. So these are the aspects, broadly we can say, we need to think about when we wish to begin a business. Right? Now, the most important part in the center, or we can say heart of this entire exercise, is the value proposition. What is your proposition in terms of value when we talk about beginning a business? What you are going to deliver? Right? So if you are able to answer that specifically, then definitely many things will get easier. So here is the flow. We start here with the value proposition. The basic simple question is, what do you do? Then we go left. How do you interact? These questions will tell you about your customer relationship. Then we think on how do you reach them. That will tell you about your distribution channel. When it is done, we need to go to customer segment. Once this part is done, it will tell us some more about this distribution channels, and then we come back here. On the other side, first we go to who is going to help us. That guys will become our key partners. Then we'll go to how we are going to do it. Then a number of activities, whatever they are involved, we will be able to understand them. And then what is required, what do you need to do these activities? That will tell us something about the resources that we will require. Once this upper part is done, we think about the cost aspect and the revenue or the money that will be returning out of entire exercise. Right? So in a shell, this will help you identifying a path that how I should be moving around or we should be going to begin with. Okay. So most important thing is that we need to create a balance between our costs and revenues. Either of it, if it is rising, then it will blink for a danger point of sign. So to make a business model canvas, the easiest way to start is by filling out what do you do. Start from blank canvas and add notes with keywords to each building block of the canvas. Now, important here is to use sticky notes instead of writing statements and sentences. Many a times, when we want to express something, it becomes a hassle of framing the grammar correctly, framing the tense correctly. Instead of that, forget about grammar, forget about tense. Let us focus on the keywords, the specific words only, or maybe one or two word group of words. Right? Don't fall into the statements, framing of sentences. Right? So that is possible with the sticky notes. You have seen the sticky notes, no? Yellow size or different color size, different shapes also there, different sizes are also there. Right? So any of them you can choose. You will need a bold black or colorful marker that will make an impression of the write-up. And when we have this sort of softboard in front of us, we can use it from a distance place. So we can have a larger picture frame. We can see all the words around. This is all exercise done to spark the brain, to brainstorm within. And if done in a group, it can definitely help a lot, because everyone will think differently on the same given word. That will help a lot, because many points can be explored when these exercises are done in a group. But the most important part here, warning sign, that don't fall into something which you find initially. Just iterate, and again you need to iterate it, right? So first idea may be a very good one. You jot it down somewhere. Still you move ahead. Still you extract things out of the brains. Right? So value proposition, we can say we need to identify different characteristics, like what is the newness in the specific aspect, what performances are anticipated, what sort of customizations will be required. Right? In case of vegetables, someone may ask for 200 grams of something, someone may require 1 kg of something. So accordingly, we will need some packaging material according to the specific requirement. Right? So we need to think about those aspects here. Now the purpose is to getting the job done. What will be my design? What will be the brand? What will be the price? Cost reduction? How can I go with? Risk reduction, accessibility, convenience and usability, how I can improve this. Now all these aspects are involved in defining the customers, jobs, we can say. What sort of jobs one need to do. If I am buying something today, whether I am going to use it, yes, I am going to use it. At what frequency I will use it? I'll say I will use it daily, maybe weekly, maybe monthly. If it is on a frequency of a month, then what is the pushing, factor that will intend me to buy that particular product? What is my benefit? That will be in front of the condition over there. Now, as each of the human are driven by emotions, major two emotions drive them are happiness and the sadness. So happiness will be generated when something is achieved. Now that part can be worked out as gains, and what is lost, the sadness will be generated when there is sort of pain. Right? So what are those aspects we need to connect in line with the tasks that are performed by the specific user. Yeah. So once this part is done, we need to think of the particular product and services in the value proposition part, what we were thinking to deliver. Now with that, what are the aspects that will create gain and what are the aspects that will relieve the pain. That we need to think of. Once we are going with that, you are expanding the horizon of specific one aspect that you are visualizing. You are visualizing earlier that no, this is okay. This is the final stage, or this is something that can be delivered. It is not necessary that what I have derived is actually the requirement of someone. But if the person is using something and I want them to switch over from the specific product to my product, what I am supposed to do in my specific product, that I need to derive. Right? So that exercise here will help you out. Value must always be considered from the buyer's perspective. So what sort of value I am looking forward to deliver for a specific product, service, or the aspects that I am looking to begin a business with. So this buyer's perspective, how do we get an idea about the buyer? We need to make empathy of the specific buyer. Now this empathy is, what is empathy? Can anyone tell me? Pardon? Okay, that is a very theoretical definition. Please explain a little bit now. What do you mean by that? Yeah, please. Pardon?
Understanding from the customer's perspective.
Okay. Aval, anyone? What is empathy? You have heard of sympathy? What is sympathy? Empathy.
Ability to understand others' feeling.
Others? Feelings. Okay. So I would say there is another word associating with this empathy, that is user feel. Feelings, expectations, and experiences. When we think about all these three aspects, we can say that I am pushing my leg into somebody else's shoe. Okay? So I need to experience. When I am doing something, I am expecting out of it. No? What is the purpose of doing something? You need, there is some motive, there is some expectation of doing everything. So there goes the expectation part. There is the experience part, as well as there is this feelings part. Right? So we need to play a role of someone. The simple most exercise what one can do is to become your father or become your mother. Let us play a role of my father, my mother. That is the very basic, easiest way to begin empathy mapping or empathy exercises. Now, the more powerful empathy you have, more of the visualization about the customer in specific you are thinking, you will be able to do. Otherwise, मैंने सोचा, I was thinking of someone, but 5 मिनट देखा उसको क्या कर रहा है, what he is doing, one is not doing. But then, why the person is doing, why the one is behaving into certain specific manner, वो पूरे दिन जो करके आया, because of that, it is a result one is behaving something like that. Right? So there are many factors affecting for specific behavior of someone. Before we can recognize very easily the resultant behavior, but why that happened, we seldom bother about it. So that way we can have an understanding about the empathy, or rather empathize on someone who is going to be a potential customer. Now there can be a variety of customers involved, different types of customers. So we need to define, segregate them out as customer segments. Each of the segment will tell us some specifics about involved persons. If the vegetables, if we are talking about, there can be a customer, the females who are housewives, their perspectives are different. There can be customers who are running small tapas or kind of stalls their requirement is different, right? There can be some larger demand creators, their requirements are different, right? There can be any individual who is looking forward getting this facility. There can be a variety of customers. We need to segment them out. And once they are segmented, then we need to push in our thoughts. Let us assume that I am the one in specific, right? Here the role play begins and the empathy will come into the picture. So the perspective of a buyer is depending on a lot of aspects involved around the specific customer. The customer, to consider buying your product, your value proposition must be superior not only to the one in competition, but also of doing nothing with the existing products. It's a status quo. Doing something but not doing anything. Like today's lecture of mine. I am attending to push in something, but at the same time I am also not doing anything physically except for speaking. Right? So there is this confusion. My product, like let us say there is this mobile phone, or let us take an example of what is that product name? Deal box. Now this deal box may be inspired out of any other apps. Now, does this deal box have a direct competition with any other such app?
Yeah, but in global level.
Global level. No, not in local level. Your app is aiming globally? Okay. So, on a global platform, whether your app is going to affect others' business, to what extent? Difficult. Right? So, there is this status quo line. Right? We have, you are delivering something that is different, but still it is not affecting the other players. The other products are seldom affected directly by your product. Right? So that is there. Then differentiate you in particular from the competition. Focus on products' unique benefit. We need to identify those differentiators. Those are the plus points that we have in our bucket to begin the business with, and demonstrate an understanding of what your customers are trying to achieve. Right? So demonstration, you please use this. This will help you. This will help you, and it will help you in this manner. It can save you this. It can, get you benefit of this sort. All those plus points needs to be derived. That is what is going to make this particular value proposition a little bit different from the other products already there in the market. Now, there are some common mistakes. We generally make a mix of several customer segments into one profile. Bechna hai, banana. So instead of focusing on any specific customer and the requirement generated, every customer is a buyer or not? Customer is a buyer or not?
Yes, sir.
Not every instance, come on. You have been roaming around in malls a lot of time. Every time you have entered into mall, you have purchased something?
No.
So you were a customer, but you didn't buy anything. Right? So why did not you buy anything? Now when we go to answer this question, there can be a lot of variety of answers, a lot of factors. But for me, the factors can be different. For you, those factors can be different. Whose factors I am going to focus on? That sort of thoughts are required. So, several customers, we definitely need not to mix them. We need to segregate them. Just as I was telling earlier, we need to make their segmentation. Jobs and outcomes, doing something and getting a result of it, that also need to be segmented. Specific actions are required to be derived. Then focusing on functional jobs only and forgetting social and emotional jobs. That will be bringing in a little bit more difficulty. Functional requirement is perfect, but somebody is not feeling good by carrying some product. So that will push not using the particular product. That happens. even though the functions performed by the particular product are fantastic. Another side, like listing jobs, pains and gains with value proposition in mind. So when we are doing this, earlier part here, when we are listing out these jobs, different tasks, completely forget about what your products and services are. Don't think of them. You keep roaming around the basic concept of your, product delivery requirement. But when we are looking forward to idea, think of the job that a particular person is performing. Don't think of your delivery of services and product. So make it independent somewhat. Like an anthropologist. Forget what you are offering, basically. That will open up more. Then identifying too few jobs and pains and gains. No, we need to identify as much maximum as we can. लिखो, write it down, jot it down. Doodles बनाए, sketches बनाओ, whatever जो मन में आया वो करना है. There are no rules as such. But thought आया दिमाग में, लिखा है सामने होना चाहिए. That is most crucial and important aspect. Because जब हमारा brain काम करता है, at what rate it works?
Speed of light.
Speed of light or electrons. Photons. नहीं इतना heavy हो जाएगा थोड़ा आंसर. Speed of light, that is, what is the number? Power. तो कुछ आसान तरीके से समझे तो. Let us take an example of heartbeats. What is the rate of heartbeats?
72. Average is 72.
72
per minute.
per minute. 72 times. That will keep pumping the blood. Do we tell it to pump?
No.
Who tells so?
Involuntary.
Brain. Brain tells. Do we need to push in any command? Brain tell heart to pump.
No.
No. It happens. Why that happens? There is this subconscious system set. Correct? So the brain activities involve subconscious state which keeps on running around with the physical action, reaction, all sort of operations. It keeps on floating the thoughts, commands. But at the same time, physically if you are sitting here, can you tell me that anyone is 100% here only?
No.
Some or the other thing is running in parallel. But still you are listening and watching.
Yes, sir.
Something is in front of you, you are watching. Some image, some picture is being processed back in the brain. Whatever I am speaking, you are also attempting to make connections of relevance, irrelevance maybe sometimes. So altogether there are on an average 3 thoughts floating or processed per second. That is the rate. 3 thoughts per second, out of which at least one is from the subconscious state of brain. It need not to be directed. Now this conscious part we can control by doing and practicing yoga and some breathing exercise and all that sort of things. Right? It sort of thoughts drive the emotions as well. So when we are doing all this exercise, make sure that your brains are peaceful and calm. You need to calm down all the extra and other thoughts. Otherwise, the focus is lost, and some random thoughts will keep on coming, which and your concentration is not there. Right? So the time is ticking, but the output will suffer definitely. So very less number of jobs, the identified activities done by the particular customer, or the benefits the one will get, or the points of pay, sadness that will be created out of this thing, that we need to elaborate as much as we can, maximize it. being too vague in descriptions of pains and gains. कुछ भी नहीं लिखना है, कुछ भी नहीं लिखना है. Not just anything. If we are writing salary increase as a gain, that by performing or by doing this activity using something will increase the salary of the person because his productivity is improved, his efficiency is improved, then salary increase, to what extent it will be increased? That we need to think of. Little bit specific. These products and services here are basically, or rather we can say, can be physical and tangible like goods, intangibles like copyright or after sales assistance. It can be digital like online services, online recommendation, music downloads, movie downloads and so on, or maybe in terms of financial, that is investment funds or insurances. Right? There can be a lot of variety included in this corner of products and services, but make sure one at a time. A lot of will make you confused. Some pain relievers, I am not going to read it all, but these are some questions that when we are thinking about pain relievers, we need to think and ask oneself a question whether my product and service will produce saving in terms of time, money or efforts, like that. Right? So that sort of some questions are here. You just go through it, put in your specific idea into the center, value proposition. Before freezing the value proposition, make an exercise of this. Customer jobs, pains and gains, gain creators, pain relievers and products and services. Similar one is for the gain creators. Some questions to be asked for ourselves. Whatever answers we are getting, we need to punch in here like this. These are the sticky notes. You can take any big paper, draw a circle, make 3 divisions, a square with 3 divisions, make a diagram, something like that. Not necessary to get it printed, sophisticated. All what we need is to bring out thoughts. More and more of thoughts will help more. Right? These are dirty always. These are dirty. And let me tell you that what actually the brain chemistry, when we are doing it, it is very difficult to express it. पहले क्या हुआ, बाद में क्या हुआ, कब हुआ, क्यों हुआ. What matters is the end result. Right? कहीं से भी आया, whatever thought you got, whatever result you are getting or line you can see, important is to see the specific action path or have specific keywords coming in front of you, catching your eyes. It connects with that connects with that connects with here. Achha, yeah. So that is aha moment will happen. But in front of you, on this specific paper, piece of paper, you need to pour in a lot of words. Right? It may happen that when you are thinking of something or doing something, you are getting some another idea, third idea, fourth idea, fifth idea. Right? So more number of ideas, jot it down somewhere. Because every second 3 thoughts on an average. How many thoughts per day? Difficult. So many a time it happens. It happens with me a lot of times in earlier days. I am confronting that specific things. Whenever I get thoughts, कब आते हैं? Is there some specific time of that? At night. Okay. बाकी दिन में क्या होता है? You behave like a robot?
No, I guess when the brain is tired, so it gets more creative, I guess. It's individually.
Yeah, it's of course individual. Brain, how does it work? There still researches are going on. A lot of researches are going on to understand the brain. But there is this chemistry of left and right brain. Right? What is left? The creative part, and the right is the logical one, the straight one, vertical one. So it seldom happens that it works in part. It actually works together. So the creativity with the logic, maths, size, shape, color, all sort of things are processed simultaneously. So at the end what we get is something that we need to develop, we need to take further from here. Right? So what are the most important 4 or 5 points derived out of this? We need to identify, we need to get them connected. I'll get back to these common mistakes here once a while when I'm done with this. These correct marks are the check marks which signifies these particular things, and this red cross, they are not somewhat required right now. That sort of gauging we need to do once this first iteration or second iteration is done. Here a few points that we need to make sure that list all the products and services rather than just those that are targeting specific segment, right? Soft everything. When we are thinking of some specific activity sort of thing, now इसके इर्द-गिर्द जो भी है, we need to push in everything. Don't make decisions whether it is going to be useful or not. Write it down, jot it down, डाल दो एक बार. Then वो chemistry जब होनी है, that will happen. But it needs to be in front. Add products and services to the pain reliever and gain creator fields. Offer pain relievers and gain creators that have nothing to do with the pains and gains in the customer profile. ये भी करते हैं, कुछ दे दिया, but it has nothing to do with the pain and gain part in the reality. Right? Make the unrealistic attempt to address all customers' pain and gain. Unrealistic, assumption based. How to verify those assumptions? We need to make a cross check with that, whether actually is the feeling or the experience or not. That we need to make sure of. Maybe by means of interview or by making rigorous observations, a repeated number of observations, that can help out, right? But at times it may go like random or like just unrealistic. नहीं ये तो ऐसे ही होता होगा ना, कुछ लिख दो ना. Don't fall into that. We need to make a check on fitting, whether the objective here is to verify if we are addressing what matters to the customers or just we are pushing it. Outcome should be the connection between your product and services and customer jobs, pains and gains. If you are able to derive these connections, your product is definitely going to add with certain features that other business will not be able to connect with. Say for example, not recently, maybe 2 years back, this medical business, the pharmacy shops, there was some sort of revolution kind of thing introduced. Delivery of medicines at home. Does it happen in Surat? These days it happens, no? It is now getting common one. Right? Everything you get on your doorstep. Step by step, everything. You push in order for furniture, it is at your home. You push in shoes and clothes and Myntra and a lot of platforms are available. Right? So ultimately, what is the purpose of all these facilities? Is it not like that? Going to a mall is actually very difficult. Is it the same? Going to shop is a difficult one. Still, it can save somewhat time. It can save somewhat money. Maybe, may not be. It can save somewhat efforts. Now, for what we are saving time? That becomes a crucial question. By not going to shop, by not spending 1 hour after purchasing something, I am saving 1 hour. That's what I am going to do. Relaxation. What else? Some more work, maybe some reading, maybe something which I am happy to do. Right? So that is the part of gain, gain. Now this gain can be different for different customer. So whoever are under the segment of customer, we need to identify that. We need to have something for everyone. Right? If we are able to get those points from this exercise of value proposition, we have a very good and strong start, we can say, of visualizing the business. The next step will become here that specific customer segment. So whether our product is going to address mass market, just as he was saying, it is going to compete globally. Fine. Now the globe, there is this mass market. So are we prepared for it? What sort of preparations are required? That becomes a next set of questions. Then, are we addressing niche market? Are we addressing some specific segmented market or diversified market or multi-sided platform? What sort of things, segment we are going to address? Under this specific segment, there is variety of customers. So we did the exercise for varieties. Now we are moving a little bit up. So here the segment in form of customers for whom we are creating value, we need to list them out. Make sure that you identify who are the most important customers. One specific or two specific categories needs to be identified. Then what sort of relationship we are looking for or expect us to establish and maintain with these customers. Say for example, do we need to introduce personal assistants or dedicated personal assistant 24/7? Sir, call us anytime and we will be assisting you right away. That sort of approach is required or not? Or maybe self-servicing sort of things required to get done with. Mobile phone, if you purchase these days, and they give PIN, they give sort of manuals operational. Do it yourself, small sort of thing. Whether that sort of approach is required, it depends. We need to customize it. Maybe there are automated services required, or maybe sort of communities required to be created. Maybe some co-creation is required. You do something, I'll do something, and things will happen. Right? So that sort of things we need to identify well in advance in here. Now, how are they integrated with the rest of our business model, and how costly are they? Whatever we are thinking of, we need to have a backside thought on that. So I will create this thing for my customers, but how much is this going to cost me? That also need to be a question asked. Then we need to think on channels. Through which channels do our customer segments wants to be reached? How are we reaching them now? How are our channels integrated? Which one works best? Which ones are most cost efficient? How are we integrated them with the customer routines? Now, these channels could be tangible, could be intangible. What sort of channels we need actually? The principles can be learned from marketing exercises. There are specialized MBA in marketing are offered. What are different modes of these channels? Maybe there is a course on that. Right? Different sort of channels are available. So which one is going to be most useful for my specific expedition? That we need to identify. Who will be my key partners? Which key resources we are acquiring from partners, and which key activities do partners perform? That needs to be identified, because ultimately it is all going to affect the cost aspects. Then key activities that we are going to perform, the distribution channel, customer relationship, revenue streams, ultimately basic about the production, problem solving, platform network, along with the value proposition. What are the basic activities that we are going to perform? We'll list them out. Key resources applicable, physical in form of physical, intellectual, human resources or financial resources. All that sort of resources needs to be identified. Now all these all will tell us about the cost structure. We need to identify whether the business that we are thinking about is more of cost driven or more of value driven, and accordingly we need to deal with it. Here we need to identify what is the extent of fixed costs, variable costs, economies of scale that I am going to address, or economics of scope that is possible with this product and services. Similarly, the revenue streams are to be identified, whether I am going to get money from selling of assets, or I am going to get some money or revenue by charging something in form of user charges, or maybe I am going to float some subscription sort of mechanism. landing on renting or leasing or licensing, maybe brokerage or advertising. What sort of things are there which are going to generate some revenue for this exercise that we need to identify here. Right? So fixed pricing, there may be some dynamic pricing, real-time market, addressing the dynamic plus or minus, cracking the deal at the side. That whether these sort of things are going to get involved, to what extent it is going to affect my revenue stream. The sale is important or the price fixation is important. That we need to make a decision. If I am going to make it sale important, then what is the degree of leverage that I can afford? That also we need to think of. Right? So that sort of trade-off needs to be done. These are some activities I have included here. Key business model questions. Step by step, one need to go through all these questions. Write down answers. Whatever the answers are there will help you understanding your entire model a little bit better. Then there is this canvas. We can start from anywhere, but begin with the value proposition. That is advisable, advised flow of moving around. But you can start from anywhere. There are no such fixation. What is the first and what is the final step? Now, converting this work or business model canvas into a strategy, there are a few points. Then there are certain assumptions we need to make. We also need to take care of these assumptions. So, what are those assumptions we need to identify? So, some few more questions are there. We need to identify the facts with evidence to extent possible and assumption. Separate it out for each and every aspect that are involved. Whether they are based on certain assumptions, if they are assumptions, we need to make sure to what extent these assumptions are correct. Right? So we need to perform that sort of exercise first. And if there are some evidences available from past experiences or past studies, we can mention that also. That will be a strength part here. Then preparation for meeting the customers or users. We need to prepare some materials like the information, delivery of information by means of handouts, or whether I will be making a presentation, PPT or a kind of movie for that, or whether I am going to develop a web page or website, or any other mode like demonstrating something by or prototype, case study sort of thing. We need to prepare that aspects also to make your concept understandable to the one who knows nothing. But we want to spark the specific need that we visualize on the canvas. That this is the specific point of pain. You realize it and purchase my thing or get the services from me. So the ultimate goal is there. Then channel strategy description we need to make. Whom we are going to meet, when and where. That plays very crucial role. Just as she was mentioning, शाम को थोड़ा थक जाते हैं. So maybe my brain is somewhat into creative. So at this time, if I am going to disturb you, madam, please purchase this. It is difficult to address. This is not a right time. Right? So, which is the most right or most correct time? Possibly most correct time can be brought in from the empathy. Visualizing once. What is the day, what is the routine of the person, how they are involved in what sort of activities, to what extent they are involved. So it makes a lot complex structure, but don't worry, just whatever thoughts are there, flush it. Whether it is correct or not, don't worry about it. Right? Just get it going. Sales process description we need to work out, whether I am focusing on the economic buyer, who are the other stakeholders involved in the customer's buying process, steps in duration of sales process, expected deal size, what are the pricing options. Maybe you can buy two get three free or third free. Sort of that sort of models we have been looking around. Those are pricing options here. Sales roadmap we need to identify. These all are specific examples hyperlinked to the specific points here. So sir, please distribute the soft copy along all of these participants. Then we need to create a positioning statement. What is my position? बोल दिया global, but are we prepared to be global? Right? So we need to make stand on positioning. Local बोल दिया local, but local actually local to what extent? Whether I am focusing only in Vesu, whether I am going to cover Gurdor, whether I am going to cover Sagrampura also, Paracha Road also, maybe Arajan and Pal also, maybe Keem Kosamba, Navsari as well. What is where, how, when? Right? So depending on these aspects, we need to make a time frame of some things. What and when, where, right? So, sorry, that sort of things are also required. So that will create a next version of your BMC. There will be version 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, different versions will be there. Each one more streamlined than the earlier one. And without hesitation, we need to make them, reiterate. The more you will iterate, the more it will be beneficial, because it will make more and more streamlined and focused. Then, just as I was mentioning, the deadline, the time aspect, by when my revenue forecast will be prepared, deliverable. What will be the deadline? Who is going to prepare this? What is responsible of making it? Right? That sort of things we need to make a tabulated form. The marketing and communication strategy, creating a product roadmap, by when it is produced, by which means, what is the deadline, initial target list, what is that, and what are the plan for growth, what is responsible for that. Because ultimately the center point lying is my growth. Right? I am not going to provide anything for free just for sake of providing. This never happens. It's all about business. Right? So we need to make a plan for growth, that too well visualized one. By this time it must have happened. If it is not happened by that time, search for the reasons why it did not happen and start working on that. If you are breaking down, the entire exercise is lost. Believe me, at least 1000 days are required for any business to get established, get known by people around. At least 1000 days. Right? So don't get demotivated, frustrated. कोई लेता नहीं है, कोई देता नहीं है, काम होता नहीं है. Don't fall into that pray. Don't pray, fall that. Right? Then the conversion of the specific work into future business. Then these growth strategies are required to be worked out. How and when, whether I am going to get it sustainable. These are some more focused boxes here. You see, words are different, but as soon as you will develop first version of business model canvas, these are advanced suggested versions. You step by step address them. That will help. Some of the examples here, this LinkedIn. All of you must be on LinkedIn, right? Right? So what is the key value proposition here? Propositions is like manage professional identity and build professional network. Does it happen there?
Yes.
Yes. Identify and reach the right talent. In USA, it is very prominently happening. They don't see the CV or resume. LinkedIn. What is your LinkedIn profile ID? Just push me this LinkedIn profile ID and I will go through. And the jobs are fixed on those platforms, right? Reaching the target audience. That also happen. And access to LinkedIn database content via APIs and widgets. There are widgets available. APIs are also available. Then the key activity here is to platform development. एक platform देना है, buyer को भी देना है, seller को भी देना है, right? और जो कुछ नहीं करते हैं उनको भी देना है, no problem. Explorers we can say. Resources, LinkedIn platform. Here partners is like Equinix and content providers. Who are these content providers? Initially they were fixed. Now anyone can provide content. It has become more social. The relationships, same side network effects, cross side network effects, we need to identify. Same side and cross side. Channels are like website and mobile apps as well as field sales. People are appointed in field from LinkedIn. They keep on, promoting, selling stuff. Then customer segments have like internet users, recruiters, advertisers and marketers, developers. All those are customers. So for all these customers, they have got something in their platform. Cost structures includes web hosting cost, marketing and sales cost, product development cost, general and administrative cost. Revenue are from free offerings and premium subscriptions, hiring solutions, marketing solutions. Now premium subscription will allow you to some specific corners of statistics and profile viewing and that sort of facilities. And marketing solutions and hiring solutions will also fetch money for the company to run and continue with the delivery, the value that they are proposing. Similar, a few more examples are there. This one is from Harvard Business Review. This is about the Foursquare, social media. You might be have been exploring that. This is the business model of that. Then some soap sponge exercise was done. Soap is also there and sponge is also there. Right? And this both thing is like I must be able to, as soon as I am done with my bathing, I should be able to carry it along wherever I go. That sort of product. So innovation was done, but now how to flush it into the market. So for the particular, this canvas is addressing. So these are all these references that I have used, all are the website address. I suggest you to explore them. All of these are mobile enabled sites, and internet is nowadays Jio Jindabad, so no problem at all. Right, so I specifically am thankful to Akshit and entire crew for inviting me here, devoting time, and let us any questions in specific if you have.
I think we'll take a 5-minute breather, and then you can think of questions, and then we can ask them. Cool? Sounds good?
That is a good idea actually.
Yeah, 5 minutes breather if people can think about.
Keep your bodies in movement, कभी बैठ के